NFL Week 4 action, and we start this show with Ron the Don Romanelli. Ron, what's happening, my man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, Jay. Thanks for having me.
Man, we're a month into the NFL. It's kind of crazy to say that already.
I know. Yeah, it goes by. This time of year always goes by the fastest. You start the football season, you're like, all right, we got a little bit till basketball starts, and then all of a sudden you're in the middle of the NBA and college basketball seasons. College football's wrapping up, so enjoy it. These are the best days of the sports year.
Yes, sir, for sure, for sure, for sure. Before we get into today's action, you know what we got to talk about. We got to update
Mm-hmm.
on the KC Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
I got a huge matchup this week with them Ravens. I've been telling everybody we're gonna be talking about this pretty much weekly because the way you called it out the gate.
Yep.
Um, I got a tough matchup this weekend, man. Are you licking your chops, hoping to cash your ticket early?
Listen, I think it goes to show you the markets are starting to wake up. Baltimore is the road favorite. I don't think that'd be the case if we didn't see the results for these two teams. Even with Baltimore losing 1-2 record, it shows the Ravens are the much better team from a power rating perspective. And it doesn't really get any easier for the Chiefs going forward. This is a winnable game. I mean, they're playing at Arrowhead. They're coming off a nice win. The defense has been strong. They had a great week against the Giants, but you go to Jacksonville the next week. You got the Lions on deck after that. There's just not a lot of winnable or guaranteed wins, I should say, for KC. So I'm feeling good. It's definitely about the win total. Playoffs, I think they'll be in the mix, but I still think they miss it.
Fair enough. Fair enough, man. I just keep talking about it because that was really polarizing here on the show week 1. Some people were calling you delusional. Some people were
Mm-hmm.
like, he might be on to something. So we'll keep talking about it as the year progresses here on this show. But what we actually talking about this week in week 4 NFL action?
Talking about one of the worst games on the board. Hate to be the starter here talking about a boring game, but Titans Texans, two teams looking for their first wins of the season. I'm not quite ready to give up on CJ Stroud and this Texans team. It's been ugly so far, that's for sure. The offense has been really tough to watch, but they've also played a really tough schedule. They opened the season in Los Angeles against the Rams team that we've seen. They've been playing really competitive football. You've got then the next week against the Bucks on Monday night. They had that game. They blew it in the final moments. Last week, a division game on the road is always not going to be easy, but I think this is a good spot for the Texans to kind of flex their muscles and pick up a big win and cover. I think it's going to be, we have a very low total, below 40. I think it's going to be a one-sided game that still ends up going under the total, but it's going to be a blowout win and cover as this Titans team could be the worst offense in the league, but I don't think their defense is really that much better. I think that the Texans have their best matchup here to get that offense going. Should be able to run the football well with Chubb and Woody Marks. I think Woody Marks is the running back you want to stash on those fantasy teams. Somebody I think is going to have some, especially with Joe Mixon not guaranteed to come back or even play this season for the Texans. Woody Mark's going to be a big contributor in the ground game for the Texans. But I look for that offense to get rolling. The defense, I still think for Houston, is top 10 in the league right now. I mean, they've been great against the run, getting great pressure on opposing quarterbacks. They've racked up 9 sacks on the year. That's a problem for the Titans. They've given up sacks on about 15% of their passing plays. It's one of the highest in the league. I think Cam Ward's going to be in trouble in this one. I look for the Texans to win this game comfortably. I'll lay the points for Houston.
When you said ugly, you meant it.
It's ugly. Mm-hmm.
It's ugly, man. The thing about the Titans is, I think you hit the nail on the head. They're one of the worst offensive teams in the league. Defensively, they're not great. One thing I don't think you mentioned is they might have the worst head coach in the NFL as well. I can't stand him, bro. He has not shown me anything through the first couple of weeks, and it's not a good sign that we've already seen him relinquish play calling duties. He's doing that this week. He's giving it to his offensive coordinator. This team has been one of the most penalized teams in the NFL through the first couple of weeks. It's not looked pretty in Tennessee to begin, but laying this many points in this division, you're asking for it as well. You look back at last season in this division, underdogs were 11-1 ATS.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's not fun laying pretty big numbers in this division. Texans haven't looked great to start this season. Of course, 0-3 already. I do think underdogs in this division are 2-0 thus far this year, though. So it might be time to throw that stat out of the window. If I had to pick it here, Ron, I would agree with you. I would go Texans.
Yeah.
It's an ugly one. It's an ugly
It is. I
one.
mean, you're right. That especially in this division, this specific matchup, there's been a lot of upsets, and the home team has not done very well against the spread. But that's just in the last couple of years. Before that trend, before the recent trends, the home team did very, very well in this season series. So I think the Texans get back on track. This is a play that if you're playing Survivor, I think it's a good idea. If you want to save the Bills, obviously the Bills are the biggest favorite and the biggest lock to win the game straight up. But I think using the Texans, not a ton of future value. So I think that'll be my Survivor play this week is the Texans.
Fair enough. Let's get it done, Houston. H-Town. CJ Stroud and company, see if they can bounce back and get their season on the right track with a home win. You broke down the ugliest one on the card this weekend, so I know you got some good things going on over on the premium side this weekend. What you got over at Pick Dawgz Premium, my man?
Yeah, we're off to a good start to the NFL season, especially on Sundays. And, I've got some great plays on the board locked and loaded for the Sunday card, some strong sides, and maybe even a total or two I see got my eyes on. So check it out at Pick Dawgz Premium. Long-term plans always going to be your best bet to get all my plays across all sports. Major League Baseball postseason starting on Tuesday. We've traditionally done very, very well in the postseason over the years in the premium area. So check it out, Pick Dawgz Premium.
I'm with Ron Romanelli. Continue to kick the crap out of the books, man. His numbers speak for themselves, video-wise and in terms of money made for you wise. So he's one of the best in the business for a reason. Hop on, my guy. Continue to kick the crap out of the books. Romanelli, appreciate you more than you know. See you throughout the week. See you on the college football show and the NFL show. Appreciate you, my man.
Good luck, everybody. Thanks for having me, Jay.
Yes, sir. And we keep it rolling here on the NFL show. And I got Ashley here with me. Ashley, how you doing?
What's going on, Jay? We have a jam-packed weekend ahead of us. Lots of football, baseball's rolling down to the wire, and if you're a golf fan, we have the big Ryder Cup this weekend. So plenty to watch, that's for sure.
Yep. Jam-packed, action-packed weekend heading up. We got a solid NFL card this coming up weekend, and we got an international game. We across the pond with it, early start time. I like the early start times because, we're usually during the morning show at this exact time. So I got my two monitors going. I got one on the international game. While
I'm a morning person for sure. I'm usually up pretty early, so there's nothing like just grabbing your coffee and sitting down and burning a few hours in the morning before you got to get ready for the full slate. So
exactly, and that's where we're headed to first. We're headed to Dublin, where we have the Vikings and the Steelers battling it out. How are we feeling here in this one?
Yeah, so J.J. McCarthy's still out. Honestly, I didn't really know what to expect out of Carson Wentz last week, but I thought he looked pretty good. And frankly, I thought it was an upgrade for the offense, at least compared to how the Vikings have been playing the last couple weeks. There's no secret that McCarthy has a lot of room to grow, but Wentz being the veteran that he looked poised back there, making some good decisions. And I think that the Vikings offense is going to be really solid this week. I know they lost Aaron Jones, which is a bummer, but frankly, I thought Jordan Mason had been looking better through the first few weeks. And he was able to step up and log 116 yards with 2 touchdowns last week. So Jordan Mason's definitely going to be able to pick up the load there. Obviously, he saw the majority of the snaps in San Francisco last season, so he's used to that workload. They're also getting Jordan Addison back this week. So Wentz isn't going to be short weapons, that's for sure. Looking at the Steelers, this defense has severely underperformed this season. I'm not really sure what their issue is, but they haven't been good against the run or the pass. I do still have some concerns with Minnesota's offensive line. That was my concern with them last week. They're still super beat up, and obviously going against TJ Watt's not going to be ideal for them this week. But I don't think the Steelers team is as good as people are making them out to be. They beat the Jets, sure, but they gave up a lot of points to them. They got torched by Seattle, and they had no business winning that game against New England last week. The Patriots threw that one away themselves. I say that as a bitter better. I took Patriots on the money line in that one, so I'm still pissed about it. But Steelers had no business winning that game. I think this offense is going to be pretty good with Wentz, and the Vikings defense is really solid. They're going to put a lot of pressure on Rodgers here. So I'm going to lay the 2.5 with the Vikings for this one.
Ashley taking Minnesota across the pond. I don't think we've had too many disagreements, but I think I disagree with you here on this one.
I'm not a Steelers believer. I'm sorry. The defense is just not what it's supposed to be right now.
That's fair. They haven't been the vaunted Steelers defense I think many of us thought they would be. But I think this is a prime opportunity for him to come out and show that. You give me Carson Wentz across the pond off a good performance.
I do have a thing against international games. I feel like weird things always happen. You know, obviously travel, different time zones. You know, weird things happen. But I don't know. Vikings defense is pretty solid. Their offense is solid. I just haven't seen what I've needed to see out of Pittsburgh so far.
I would actually agree with you. I think Minnesota's defense right now today is better than the Steelers' defense. Offensively, though, I think it's a wash. And if you're asking me in this style game, in this style situation, which quarterback I trust more, it's A-Rod. There was something you said a minute ago that I do agree with. Right now, at this exact moment in time, Carson Wentz is better than JJ McCarthy. This offense is better suited right now in week 4 with Carson Wentz than JJ McCarthy. Long term, though, that's not the case, and that's why you do want to get JJ McCarthy in there, get him the reps, get him everything, so he will be ready when the time comes to be ready in the biggest moments. I say all that to say this is one of the tougher games on the card. Personally, getting points with the Steelers just feels like a good place to be. I'm getting the better head coach, in my opinion, Mike Tomlin, who's, look at his track record over the past couple seasons. And when it comes to just winning football games, I'm getting the veteran quarterback, the veteran defense, and a lot of unknowns for the Vikings. I know they beat the doors off of the Bengals last week, but we all know what the Bengals are. They were one of the worst defense, if not the worst defense in the NFL last year. Didn't do much to improve that. And they're a swag team. They're a team that has to go toe-to-toe with you offensively. And with Burrow out, Chase Brown playing the way he's playing, it was no shocker to me that the Vikings kind of strangled them and the score looked the way it looked. I'm a little nervous of laying points on the road across the pond with Minnesota in a game like this, though. 50-50 game, I think this is what this is, and I would lean with the points.
If it was over a field goal, I would think twice, but I'm rocking it.
Let's go. Let's do it. Let's see who's right in this one. Across the pond, early start time. Can't wait to see this one play out. Where we headed to next, Ashley?
Throwing it over to Atlanta. Commanders and Falcons. There's no way to slice it. Getting blown out and shut out by the Panthers is a tough look. Tough week to be a Falcons fan last week. I don't have much confidence in Penix Jr. based on what I've seen so far. And with a very expensive Kirk Cousins on the bench, you have to admit that that's probably looking pretty tempting if you're a Falcons fan right now. But Raheem Morris came out this week, said he's standing firm behind Penix Jr., kind of to your point about what you just said about McCarthy. You got to keep him in there, got to get him reps. But again, when you're paying Kirk Cousins that much money, I don't think this Falcons team's a bad team. But in this spot with Penix Jr., this is going to be the opportunity where he's going to have to step up because the Commanders, they don't have a powerhouse defense by any means, but they've been okay against the run. They have a good pass rush. They've been phenomenal on third downs. I think they actually lead the league in third down stops this season. But that said, they're definitely better than Carolina's defense. That's for sure. And to see what Atlanta failed to do last week, that's very concerning. So unless Bijan can put the team on their back, I just don't know if Atlanta's going to be able to pull this one out. Their saving grace is their defense. And again, that's why I think it should be tempting to look at Kirk Cousins because the Falcons have a great defense. So they have to figure out their offense and they could get some wins under their belt. But I don't know about this one. For Commanders, we're seeing we don't know if we're going to get Jaden Daniels or not yet, but Mariota looked good last week. He was effective with his legs. Washington's run game's been really good. Even after Eckler went down, they've still been able to get the job done. They dropped to over 200 yards on the ground against the Raiders last week. So I can't back Atlanta yet. I don't like what I'm seeing with Penix Jr. Again, I know they have a good defense. But I'm going to roll with Washington this one and lay the 1 point. They've also won and covered their last 4 meetings against the Falcons. So I'm going to ride with the history in this one and lay the 1.
I think they make it 5. I'm going to agree with you. I'm on the Commanders in this one. I think right now we're recording this on Thursday. So with the line being where it's at right now, Washington, road favorites in Atlanta with question marks on Jaden Daniels tells you what you need to know. You know, the books feel pretty comfortable that Washington should win this game despite the quarterback situation for the Commanders. You got to remember, this is a Commanders team that was in the NFC Championship game last year. And one thing that I was really telling everybody last week is I feel like the public's consensus on the Washington Commanders is their Jaden Daniels is just God, and he just leads them to the promised land. And I don't think so. You know, this is a deep Commanders team, you know, with a lot of veterans. They're a team. And Jaden Daniels was so happened to be the guy that, you know, was able to step in and help them take that next step, is all I'm saying. So I don't think the drop off from Daniels to Mariota is quite as big as many people out there would try to portray it to be. So all I'm saying in this moment is same thing I said last week. I've been a Marcus Mariota guy since Oregon, you know, and in terms of backups, he's probably one of the best backups you can have in the league. And this may sound crazy to some right now today. I ain't gonna lie, this may sound kind of crazy, Ashley, but I think Mariota better than Michael Penix right now.
No, that's not that crazy. That's not that crazy. No, Penix has been rough. Mariota, he looked like he hadn't stopped starting. Like, you know, he picked right up where, you know, he left off. And to your point, you know, I've heard some people say, oh, well, you know, Terry McLaurin's probably not playing this week. They've hardly used him. As a very unfortunate, pissed off Terry McLaurin fantasy football owner, they haven't needed him. They have so much depth, they haven't needed him. And so frankly, I don't think that's going to change the trajectory of this game. And yeah, to your point, I think if you can get this line where it is now, and then it comes out in a day or two that, you know, Jaden is playing, you know, obviously the line's probably going to adjust itself. So hop on the 1.5 now while you can get it, because I think it's a steal.
I do too. All right, actually, we just broke down 2 games this week. We disagreed on one. We agreed on one. I'll take it. 1-1. Solid weekend of action coming up between college football, NFL, like you said, baseball winding on down. Playoffs start Tuesday. Great weekend of action coming up on the horizon. What you got going on over at Pick Dawgz Premium this weekend?
Yeah, sure. So you can definitely grab my best bet of the day, whether it's college football Saturday or NFL Sunday. I am currently 6-1-1 in my last 8 NFL picks, so I'm starting to get hot. So now is definitely the time to hop on the bandwagon. So, you know, you can grab my best bet of the day, or if you want to ride with the longer term packages, I have a 3-day option, a week option, a month option, or you can ride along for the whole season. So grab one of those longer term packages, use the code PICK for 15% off. We have so many sports coming up here, obviously knee deep in football. We have baseball playoffs around the corner, and NHL and NBA waiting in the wings. So now's a good time to get one of those longer term packages, because we're going to have a lot of action here very shortly.
Ashley's been beating up the books, college football and NFL in recent history. There's a reason she's on this show, ladies and gentlemen. Hop on with Ashley. There's a reason she's on the team here at Pick Dawgz. Hop on with Ashley. Continue to kick the crap out of the books. We appreciate you more than you know. Appreciate you coming on the show again this week. We'll see you throughout the week on Ashley's Edge. Make sure you guys check that out, man. Free information, no charge, great information as well. As she continues to grow that. But we love having you here on the show, Ashley, and we appreciate you more than you know.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it.
And we keep it rolling here on the NFL show. And I have Big Al McMorty here with me. Al, what's happening? How you doing?
Doing well. Looking forward to a nice week in the NFL. Probably going to have posted, Jay, maybe upwards of 13 NFL games this weekend.
Wow. Al's loving the card this weekend, and he's breaking down 2 of them for us right here, right now. I think it's a solid NFL weekend. We're getting more data. We're getting more information, more film. all that stuff. So, and that's kind of what builds my arguments more often than not. So let's talk about it. Where we headed to first?
Oh, gosh. Let's go out to Buffalo and take a look at the Buffalo Bills hosting the New Orleans Saints. The Saints were blown out last week by 31 points. They played Seattle. They lost 44 to 13. They're now installed as an underdog of 15.5 points at Buffalo. I'm actually going to grab the points with New Orleans off that, disgusting loss. When you take a look at how double-digit underdogs have done in non-division games over the last 45 years, if they're off a loss by more than 30 points, they've covered the spread 62% of the time. So I do like New Orleans to bounce back off that 44-13 loss. And then also take a look at how Buffalo has done, Jay, when they're playing an opponent off a blowout loss of 21 or more points. Buffalo has not done well in that situation. They've gone 19-34 ATS their last 53. This number is too big. We saw that the previous week for the Bills when they were laying 11.5 against Miami. They only won that game by 10. The number's just gotten away from the Bills here. I'm going to take the 15.5.
Al, grabbing the points with the Saints. Some would say this is the best team in the league versus the worst. But like you said, you're up and over 2 touchdowns in this one. You need 3 scores. Back door wide open in a game like this, man. I'm likely gonna stay away. I don't want any parts of the Saints personally.
I understand that sentiment. Look, it's not making my premium card. It's
I get
it's not gonna be there, but I would definitely take the Saints before I take the Bills.
Fair enough. Sometimes NFL. The right place is the ugly place. Hold your nose and
absolutely
see what the Saints can do this weekend. All right, Al, where we headed to next, my man?
Well, let's stay true to our theme of ugliness. We're going to look at the New York Giants as a home dog. They're playing the undefeated Los Angeles Chargers, and I think the Chargers might have the best defense in football. They've been really, really, really impressive. But here they're favored by 6.5 points on the road, and undefeated teams are 88-122 ATS in non-division road games off a home win if they're favored by 13 or less points. So I just think this is a really bad spot for the LA Chargers. They're off that huge division home win against the Denver Broncos last week, and now they have to travel across the country, play the New York Giants, out of division. Tough game. I'll take the 6.5.
Giants starting a rookie. Jackson Dart getting the start here in this one. Rook against this defense. It's another ugly one. Hold your nose. The Giants got some talent on the outside, though, and we've seen Russell Wilson look good in certain moments. Jackson Dart, when he was in Ole Miss, he slung it. So it wouldn't surprise me if he came out here and did enough to keep this game within the number. The Giants, they have some talent. And we'll see if they can do enough to keep this one close.
Yeah, I mean, look, they played your Cowboys tough.
They did. Granted, our defense might be the worst in the league, but
right. I understand. But I mean, this, Giants they're not bereft of talent. I mean, there's stuff there. So just got to stay within the number.
I thought last week they moved the football okay, and Russell Wilson made kind of a few bad plays. Like, you can't be throwing the ball out the back of the end zone that many times. Like, at some point, you got to put the ball in play. You know what I mean? You got to give your receiver a chance to make a play. So yeah, I feel like Russell Wilson was kind of playing like he didn't want a career-ending pick. It's kind of what ultimately ended up him on the bench. We'll see how loose and well Jackson Dart can step into here. It seems like some of the young guys rallying around him, though, and we'll see if that new energy is enough to get the Giants to cover, or maybe even the outright win at home.
The Giants are also really good as home dogs of 5 or more points versus opponents off back-to-back wins. They're 15-4 ATS in that situation. We talked about the Chiefs game. I give out the Chiefs here, last week. That was just a horrible situational spot for the Giants. You're playing an 0-2 Kansas City Chiefs team, so that was always going to be an uphill battle. But now they're playing a team that's fat and happy, and the Chargers are 3-0. So this is a much better situational spot for New York.
Let's do it. See if the Giants can pull this one off. Al, you said you got a 13 plays this weekend. I know where to find them.
Yeah, a mixture of sides and totals. Probably going to have 7 sides and 6 totals, I think. So it'll be a big card, and that'll be across Sunday and Monday combined. So it'll be a nice NFL card, and so it'll all be over at Pick Dawgz. And if folks want to, join, there's weekly and monthly subscriptions available. You can also team me up with Jay here on the 2-for-1 handicapper special, and we'll get you a lot of profit this week.
Al, I appreciate you joining me. We'll see you throughout the week and on the college football show. We're knee deep in it. It's the best time of year, man. So wouldn't trade it for anything else.
Yeah. I'll see. Are you going to on Saturday?
Yes,
actually,
sir.
This is being shown on Sunday, so we probably already know the answer.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Al.
Thanks, Jay.
And we keep it rolling here on the NFL show. And I got my guy, Brad Wins Best, with me. Brad, what's happening? How you doing this week?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Can't complain. Ready to cash in an NFL play for you guys. Last week we had Browns plus 7.5. That was beautiful. Outright winner. And let's do it again. Let's do it again this week.
Let's keep it rolling into this week. I think college football kind of steals the show from the NFL this week, but it's still an overall really solid NFL card.
Mm-hmm.
I've been deep diving all week, and I'm ready to make some money this week. Where are you headed to here in this one?
We're going to head to New England. We're going to head to New England where we got the Carolina Panthers playing the Patriots. You look at this spread, New England's laying 5.5. Let me paint this picture for you. I mean, New England's laying 5.5. Took a bad loss week 1 against a bad Raiders team, in my opinion. And then last week they looked terrible against the Steelers. So why should we lay 5.5 in this game? The reason why we should lay 5.5 is because the Patriots are going to win and cover this one. If you watched that last week's game against the Steelers, the Patriots had 3 trips in the red zone where they turned over the ball, whether it's fumbles, interceptions. If you watch that game, the Patriots should have scored 30-plus points in that game. That score 14-21 against the Steelers isn't how that game really went. And I was on the Steelers, so I watch every snap of that game. So I think we get a pissed off Patriots team here. And then I just think this is a spot where people are going to start humping on the Panthers after their 30-0 win against the Falcons. I think it's a classic letdown spot. The Panthers on the road have looked terrible this season. They lost 26-10 to the Jags. And then they lost to the Cardinals, who we saw last night. That's not really a good team either. So good for you, Panthers. You got your 30-0 win against the Falcons, but I think this is a classic letdown spot for the Panthers and a classic bounce back spot for the Patriots. And it's one of those where the line tells you what you need to know. Why the hell are the Patriots laying 5.5 with the way they've looked? It's because they're going to win and cover the spread. So just doing some line reading here. I think this Patriots team is better than what they've shown or what the scoreboards on these games tell you. So I'm going to be on the Pats. I'm going to be on a pissed off Mike Vrabel to get a win and cover here.
You're a bold man. Them Panthers coming off a 30-0 beat down win.
It was fluky. Like, what about the other 2 weeks?
They got a new head coach. They needed 2 weeks to get their legs underneath them. Now they finna come in here and beat the Patriots outright.
Nah, you lose 26-10 to the Jags. I don't care what happens in any week. I know every week's different, and teams change as the season goes on. But I'm not bought in on the Panthers.
Let me be serious. I think, and for me, this is a tough game this weekend, but not really. I think the Patriots are one of the most overrated, overvalued teams in the league. They haven't shown me anything that suggests that they should be this sizable of a favorite. And the Panthers, I still feel like a lot of people have them as one of the worst teams in the league, but looking at their roster, I don't think they're that. So I don't want to overreact too much to last week. I would much rather them come into this game like off a regular win or off a loss, and I would love this much better. So coming off the huge 30-point blowout does make my stomach nervous, but and I don't think they're nearly as good as 30-0, but I do think they're improved from what they have been over years past. And I don't see a 5.5 point gap here between these two teams. That's all.
So why is it 5.5? Why is it 5.5?
Because the Patriots are overrated. That's why.
Exactly. Like, so do you think the odds makers just think the Patriots, they're just overhyping them? There's something there. It's funky. It is a funky line, but these are the lines you got to play in the NFL, and you know that. You know that.
You're right. It did perk my ears up when I saw this at 5.5. I think, but I don't know. I think Boston, the Patriots, they're one of the more, like, even though they've been down the last couple of years, it's the Patriots. Like, everybody loves the Patriots. Like, so like, they're one of the American teams, and the Panthers, they're the Panthers. They're just looked at as one of the worst teams. So it's like, I just don't think a lot of people are buying or taking the Panthers seriously. I think they think last week was a fluke, and they are daring them to come out and do it again on the road. But I think they can. We'll see.
So you think there's a Patriots tax?
It sounds crazier saying it out loud, but kind of. I do. You make a good argument. I don't know why this line is 5.5. If I was the lines maker here, my line would probably be Patriots 3.5, Patriots 4. That would be my line. So it's a tough one.
Yeah. This is one of those, either I'm going to look like a genius or I'm going to look like a dumbass. And sometimes you got to take your shots with those, You do. You do. Fair enough.
I do know where to find your favorite plays, the plays you love the most. And those are over at Pick Dawgz Premium. What you got going on this weekend?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'll probably have 3 plays in the NFL. That's typically what I do on these NFL Sundays. Me and Jay were talking about a play before the show that I like a lot. So I've been in the lab. I've been cooking up. And, I have 3 plays I'm rolling. I may add a 4th, maybe even add a 5th. But right now I have 3 that I'm locked in on. If you want my best play, that'll be on sale, $25 over at the site. But always something long-term. Even the full package is the best value. Team me up with Jay. Team me up with any of the guys on the site. And, let's make some money this Sunday.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Brad, I appreciate you joining me. We'll see you throughout the week here on the Pick Dawgz YouTube channel and, of course, on the college football show and here on the NFL show every week.
Yes, sir. Let's catch in.
Keep pounding.
Let's get it.
Let's go. And we keep it rolling here on the NFL show. And I got Brian Biller here with me. Brian, what's happening, my man? How you doing this week?
Definitely excited for another Sunday of NFL football. Definitely lots of opportunities out there on the card that we can take advantage of. And hopefully I'm talking about one that should be a nice big-time winner for us. Involves your Dallas Cowboys, who had that rough week last week. But, plenty of time for them to make up ground in the NFC. And, it's not over yet, Jay, so don't sell your stock on the Dallas Cowboys.
Man, it's not over yet, but you let Caleb Williams win player of the week on you last week. The signs are definitely showing. We're talking about them right here, right now. Sunday night football. What a game it is. Do they bounce back in some capacity, or do the Packers come in here and take us behind the woodshed?
Yeah, for me in Sunday night football, I'm looking at, like you said, the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys. Both these teams off of losses, but this Cowboys team, I think their stock is at an all-time low, and we're getting one hell of a good number with the team at home in desperation mode at close to a touchdown in some spots. I think this game plays out very similar to the game we saw in Philadelphia, to start the season. Dallas hanging. I think they'll hang with the Packers for most of the game. I think we see a late turnover, whether it's a fumble or an interception. But I think in the end, Packers win this one by 4-6. But if you can get 6.5 with the Dallas Cowboys, I think this game's going to be bet heavy all day long. Packers. And books don't like losing these late primetime games. And I think if you're on Dallas, you'll be coming in on the winning side as long as you take the spread.
Brian B. Bold man taking my boys. Right now, we're recording this on Thursday. My emotions are still hurt. I had the Dallas Cowboys as my top play of the weekend last weekend against the Bears. I just did not foresee Caleb Williams coming in playing as well as he played. Based on what I've seen with my Cowboys thus far this season, man, we might have the worst defense in the league.
That's their top problem is their defense. Javonte Williams can really run the football. It reminds me a little bit of Emmitt Smith. They got the tight end going on, and even without CD Lamb this weekend. They still got other opportunities. It's just their defense that really needs to step it up against the Green Bay Packers.
Green Bay, of course, they laid an egg late in that game last week against the Browns. I would much rather have loved them to win that game and for me to be on the Cowboys in this spot following that. It's a tough game. This is a tough game. And I think the multi-million-dollar question in this game is, do you trust the Cowboys offense enough to score enough points to keep this game within the number? I think that's the multi-million-dollar question.
You can easily see a backdoor touchdown, though, in this game with the Packers up 13 late. Dallas drives down. Dak gets an easy touchdown in the end zone. You could definitely see that. They have no problems moving the football, especially in garbage time. So if they can keep it within the number, I could easily see a walk-off backdoor here.
Brian B, bolder than I am, man. I haven't made up my mind officially yet. We still got some time. It's the Sunday nighter. Again, my feelings still hurt, but it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me. I still got to deep dive this game a little more. But Brian, taking my boys. I think it's a solid bounce back week for him, ATS-wise, at home, at the crib. Crazy weekend coming up, man, between college football, NFL, WNBA playoffs returning tomorrow and Friday nights. A good weekend of sports coming up, Brian. Baseball playoffs start on Tuesday. What you got coming up on the horizon here at pickdawgz.com?
Well, make sure you guys check out my titanium play every day, especially on Sunday. I'll have my NFL titanium. As I record this, 6 straight best bet titanium winners. You can get my 30-day pass also for $350. Use code PICK at checkout, save an additional 15% off. A 30-day pass, you're going to have Major League Baseball playoff action, WNBA playoffs, NFL, college football, and soon the NHL just around the corner. So definitely a good time to lock into a long-term plan.
Brian, appreciate having you on the show, my man. We'll see if my boys are able to come through for us.
I think I'm kissing up to you. I'm giving out the Cowboys every time I come on. But, I legitimately like them, and they're in a perfect spot. I like to buy low, and you can't get much lower than the way Dallas has played on defense. So, buy low spot on the Cowboys.
Buy low, says Brian B. We appreciate you, my man. We'll see you throughout the week. Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me, Jay. Always appreciate it.
Yes, sir. And we keep it rolling here on the NFL show. And I got my guy, Chris Ruffalo, here with me. Chris, what's happening, my man? How you doing?
Doing all right, Jay. Yeah, it's still mind-boggling to me that we're almost a quarter of the way through the NFL season already, but still ready to break down some action with you here, ready to help everybody make some money.
Let's do it, my man. Let's do it. We're headed to Monday night. We got a double header on Monday night. Which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about the AFC East matchup between the Dolphins and the Jets. And for me, I like the total here. I think this total of 44.5 is just a stigma total based on the fact that these two teams are both 0-3 this season. But you got to keep in mind the reason that they're both 0-3 is because these two teams have combined to allow 30 or more points in 5 of their combined 6 games this season. Defense continues to be a major issue on both sides. For the Jets, the offense looked all right with Tyrod Taylor leading the charge against Tampa Bay last week. They put up 27 points. For Miami, they still put up 21 plus in 2 of their last 3 games against division opponents in New England and Buffalo. For me here, I think this is one of those games where I think the total is just set too low. I think this game gets up into the high 40s, low 50s. I like the over in this one between the Jets and the Dolphins.
Points in this one. That's
It's not for the faint of heart.
It's not. It is not. You got Tua. You got Justin Fields. Is Justin Fields slated to be back for this one?
He might be. I'm just saying, even if it's Justin Fields or if it's Tyrod Taylor, it doesn't. To me, it's potato. I think that, because you got to, like, the Jets still scored 32 points on the Steelers with Justin Fields in week 1. So
fair enough. If I were to play this game, I would play the side. I rarely bet totals unless I love them. And I'm just not sold on the Dolphins quite yet. I know they looked okay last week in a loss, but it wasn't enough for me to be like, they're back or I trust them or anything like that. Definitely don't want to be laying points with them. So I would lean towards the Jets with the points in my back pocket. Monday Night Football game. We'll see what happens. Not one of my favorite games of the week, though.
Yeah, I can understand. It's like I said, it's not for the faint of heart. It's not the sexiest game on the board, but sometimes when it's not, it's not sexy, but you know, the money still is the same color at the end of the day. So yeah, like I said, it's not going to be for everybody, but can't help what I like.
You can't. And I do know where to find the place that you really, really like. I know where to find the Ruffalo Sexy Picks. And they're over at Pick Dawgz Premium. What you got going on this weekend, my man?
Yeah, this weekend it's going to be a lot of football. You know, but for Sunday, we're going to be having, you know, my NFL Platinum play. There'll be a play on the board. That is going to be the play that I absolutely love this weekend. I mean, realistically, we always say the premium plays are where you can find our best bets. And I do love everything I have on the premium side, but that Platinum play is the creme de la creme, the best of the best. So make sure that you check that out. Pair me up with Jay or any of the other great cappers at the website. Let's make you some money this college football and NFL weekend and for the rest of the season. So make sure that you check that out over at Pick Dawgz Premium. Use that promo code PICK and get 15% off your purchase.
Chris, appreciate you joining us this week. We'll see you on the College Football Show and, of course, throughout the week here, right here on the Pick Dawgz YouTube channel. Appreciate you, my man.
Thank you so much for having me, Jay. Appreciate it.
Sir.